were a king that ruled over the neighborhood you and your family lived in? And what if you had a lemonade stand where you sold delicious refreshments to your neighbors? And one day, the king of your neighborhood dropped by and said, "Hey, you owe me most of that money you just made, because I said so." You wouldn't really like that, would you? Well, the American colonists didn't like it either. They were beginning to realize that they didn't have a voice, and their rights were being violated by a selfish king. You see, King George was involved in 7 different wars over his 59-year reign. And one of those wars was actually called the 7 Years' War. It was basically a world war between multiple global powers. Great Britain was one of those powers, and they were gaining lots of territory from the French and Spanish, including places like India, the Caribbean, and much of North America. But wars cost money, and because Great Britain needed lots of it, they decided they just tax the colonists over in America and make them pay for their extraordinary debt crisis. This was a form of tyranny, which is when a person or institution in power becomes oppressive and starts limiting the freedoms of the very people they're supposed to serve. In response, the colonists decided to stand up to King George and began boycotting his aggressive taxes. King George then sent his red-coated British troops overseas to get the colonists back in line. But that didn't work out the way he planned it. You see, while King George was all busy fighting his wars, many of the colonists in North America started getting together to talk about what it would look like if they started their own country, free from the rule of the British monarchy. They began seeing themselves as visionaries, defenders of freedom, patriots. As the vision of this new land of the free was brewing, so was the tension with Great Britain. More than 2,000 British soldiers were sent to the colonies to enforce the tax laws, which the patriot colonists continued to protest, often with a rally cry of "No taxation without representation."
Hey parents, download the Bentkey app. New episodes available every Saturday.